If we're both aware and we're like, okay, we both do have some stuff to work on here. Here's what I've got to work on. Here's what you want to work on. Do you want to do this together? With that frame, then we really can get on the same track together. When you enter into a partnership, you become each other's allies and you both bring wounds to the table. And it actually is a gift to your partner to say, hey, what's something that I could do to nurture and nourish your inner child? And here's what you could do to nurture and nourish mine. And that's a gift that we give. And it's not about expecting it or demanding it. But if we truly want to heal in relationship, then we actually do take on each other's baggage as a team. And that's not something that a lot of people talk about these days, because we're in this far swing to the other end of the pendulum, because we've gone from these like very enmeshed relationships. Now we want to go to this total ultra independence. But somewhere in the middle lies the beauty of doing the dance together and saying, you know what? I'm your ally in healing. I'm going to be your partner in healing. How can I love you better? Here's how you can love me better. And let's do this thing.
I think it's wise to do that, whether it's daily or weekly. It doesn't have to be every day for everyone. I every week, probably, I ask Martha in some way about that. And I like to say, do you feel seen, celebrated, and supported? And if not, what can I do to support you in feeling seen, celebrated, and supported more?
Yeah.
She always says yes, she does. So it's like, it's being conscious on top of mind, whether it's daily or weekly, but just being actively supporting and a teammate to someone and an ally, not an enemy, I think is really powerful. Why do you think we repeat these negative patterns in relationships so frequently? We have a bad experience in one relationship, we look for someone new, and then it repeats. And then we do it again and again. Why does that happen for people?
We're looking for a resolution. In the back of our minds, we might not even be aware of it, but we're looking for a resolution to that thing that happened, or to that story that said you're not lovable, or that story that said you have to fight to earn love. And so somewhere in our minds, we're looking to prove that story true, or we're looking to complete the process. And so we look for somebody who matches the template, right, like we just talked about, so that we can perhaps do that work. And typically it hasn't worked out, because what we don't realize is that our partner is doing that exact same thing.
Right.
But with the self-awareness and the willingness piece, if we're both aware and we're like, okay, we both do have some stuff to work on here. Here's what I've got to work on. Here's what you want to work on. Do you want to do this together? With that frame, then we really can get on the same track together and team up and do that healing work. Otherwise, it just does repeat endlessly. And it's easy to just blame the other person. Well, there's something wrong with you. I'm just going to get rid of you and go and find my soulmate.
Right, the next person. Yeah, exactly. Interesting. What was the best thing you did before getting married the second time?
Yeah.
And that really supported entering the marriage? And then what was the thing you wish you would have done before getting married this second time around, that maybe, we didn't have this conversation or create these agreements? Or
Yeah, the thing that I love that we did was we created shadow vows.
Shadow vows.
Yeah, and
What is
those were
that?
sort of, we also call them ownership vows. So we wrote our sacred vows to each other, but then we also did ownership vows. And so at our wedding, we had a different type of wedding where we had everybody actually sat in a circle on the floor. Only the elders in our community sat on chairs, and we had all of these plush rugs everywhere. And we did a cacao ceremony and a group meditation. And then we stood in front of our community, and we had spent a month negotiating our shadow vows. And essentially we were calling out the parts of ourselves that were not yet healed, or some of the worst things that we're bringing to the relationship.
Things you don't like about yourself, or whatever.
Or the ways that we show up in a crappy way with our partner, which there's always ways, And so we did that. We wrote it down and we shared with each other, and we also allowed each other to give feedback before we did this.
Oh my gosh.
Like,
That's amazing.
Is there anything here, is there anything that I do that you want me to own? And we used that. We did that in front of our community. We stood and we owned,
Holy cow.
I owned that I'm going to project my unhealed father wound onto you sometimes. and I promise that I'm going to always come back to love. That's the kind of vows that we said. And so it was very vulnerable and intimate, but everyone in our community got to witness, this is the true Sheleana and Ben. These are the things that they're working on. We're not painting this perfect picture. And then they vowed to hold us through that. And then every year, what we do is we take our shadow vows and we go through them together and we say, oh, I think I've actually worked really well on this one. Maybe we should take this one off the list. Maybe that one has been completed. Or maybe we need to add this to the thing,
Right.
Maybe we need to work on this one. And so we actually reassess our vows. We sort of use it as like a template to check in, do a temperature check. And that has served us very well. And we've guided other couples through that as well. So that's the thing that I loved the most.
What's the thing you wish you would have done before marriage that you didn't do?
Definitely would have been more somatic work, more nervous system work. That's something that I started the year that we got married. And it was because when we got
That's
married,
intense.
4 years in, all of a sudden I started feeling like I needed to escape. My ego was like, oh God, get
I'm
me
now
out
committed,
of here.
get me out. Wow.
Yeah, and what have I done, right? Because what if this was the wrong decision? I'm going to look like a fool.
I should have waited 3 years and
Yeah.
this and that, right?
Yeah. Yeah, well, we had already been together 4 years, and I was like, we should have waited 7,
Right.
And the funny thing about that is because the 7-year itch. Have you ever heard the 7-year itch thing?
Tell me.
Well, in Canada, maybe this is a Canadian thing, but they talk about the 7-year itch, where a lot of couples break up after 7 years.
Okay.
But then my friend told me that actually that has been proven untrue, and it's been proven that it's actually the 4-year itch. And we got married at 4 years, so I had all that stress for nothing.
Maybe this is the time to leave.
Yeah. But my nervous system didn't know how to stay. And so
Because we've never been in a safe, committed, fully
Ever.
committed. Yeah.
and not in a relationship where I had all of the things. Like, we had good chemistry and we had the spiritual connection.
It was healthy.
It was always one or the other. And so my body was starting to freak out, and I wanted to run in the other direction, even though I was trying to tell myself I'm safe. And so I had to do some deep nervous system reworking to get into a place where I no longer felt like I needed to escape all of the time, even though I knew consciously that it was good to be where I was in this relationship. And that work is sort of what I ended up going and training in over the last 4 years, because it was so powerful for me. I realized this is the thing that we all need to do, is create security in our bodies and our nervous
Yes.
systems.
Yeah, you can only outthink so many things.
Yeah.
You can't outthink emotions and stress and the body's memory. You
Yeah.
have to process, feel, heal, and integrate this healing consistently. And it's not just I had this experience of an hour session, I feel a sense of relief and I process some things. If you don't integrate that lesson consistently until the next trigger, it's going to keep coming back. Thank you for watching this video. If you want more inspiring clips like this, make sure to click right here to subscribe and click right here to watch that next video that is specific to support you in your life.